Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
Indeed, we do. We've got a couple of great guests on talking about national security issues. Richard Hanania is going to break down the timeline for withdrawal in Afghanistan, if there is a timeline for withdrawal in Afghanistan. Not looking good there. Ken Klippenstein is on. He's got some really important new reporting we want to highlight about the FBI seizing phone records of members of Congress in the wake of the January 6th riots. Really scary implications from that maneuver. But we wanted to start with what is now being dubbed Neera-gate here in D.C.
This is an incredible story. So this is Politico quoting several Democratic insiders who think that the White House's handling of Neera Tanden's nomination has been so, quote, ham-handed that it must be part of a broader conspiracy theory. That Ron Klain and Biden's team are playing three-dimensional chess in which they knew they had to appease the Clintons, the Clinton world, so they put up the most odious face of the Clinton world, knowing that she wouldn't get the nomination, being like, look, they even put her up.
Yeah.
They're like, we tried. But they're also saying, see, they put her up even before the Democrats won in Georgia, which was a scheme because they knew that she would never get through. There's no way they thought Mitch McConnell would ever let such votes go about. And there's all these different theories in D.C. that there's probably a back pocket plan to put the real OMB director plan the entire time. I mean, you could believe that. Or you could believe that this was ham-handed because these people are kind of clueless and that actually Biden is a man who has no real ideology and for some bizarre reason refuses to drop this woman's nomination.
Well, and here's the thing is the reporting is that this push for Neera to be OMB director really did come directly from Biden.
Shocker.
And so, look, there's no House of Cards, eight-dimensional chess going on here. Biden, like Trump, actually, has overestimated his ability to negotiate, the status of his relationships with Republicans in the Senate. And so I think he thought that through his own personal charm and relationships and negotiating, that he would be able to get Neera Tanden through this process. Not looking good for her at the moment, as we've brought you, of course. Manchin was the first one to say he's not going to vote for her. Romney, Collins, they've all come out and said we're not going to vote for her. The one person who is still kind of giving Neera a little bit of hope here is Lisa Murkowski. So she has expressed concerns. It's actually funny. A reporter yesterday showed her some of the tweets.
Yeah, dunking on her.
That Neera had sent out about Senator Murkowski, which he had apparently not seen before, or at least seemed to indicate she hadn't seen before. The White House is saying they'll make Neera available to Senator Murkowski if she wants to have a one-on-one conversation with her. She hasn't indicated which way she's ultimately going to go, so we don't know whether she's going to join the Civility First caucus, which is the reason that Romney and all these people have stated that they don't want to vote for Neera, which again isn't the right reason, but I don't really care ultimately why she's defeated. I only care about the result. So we'll see if she ultimately joins with the rest of the Civility Caucus. But if she were to go the other way and decide to vote to confirm Neera in favor of Neera, then you have Bernie Sanders put in the position of being the deciding vote on whether Neera Tanden is confirmed, not only for any position, but for the position that would be he would have the most
directly reporting
interaction with, because he's chair of the Senate Budget Committee and this is the director of the Office of Management and Budget, so they would have to collaborate really closely. I don't know. It does make me really sad. He hasn't said, by the way, which way he would vote, but he did postpone the vote this week, which is what the White House wanted because they didn't have the votes, to give them some more time to try to gather the votes. So it doesn't look like Bernie is planning to buck the White House's wishes on this, which is kind of sad.
Bernie's been the White House's guy on this from the very beginning. I mean, he gave it to her a little bit in questioning, but most of the actual tough questioning came from the Republican senators. Not necessarily a surprise. I think what is strange about it is he's never had a better time to flex his muscles. Why doesn't he just come out and be like, listen, this person has said odious things about me. But beyond that, I have actual policy concerns.
Yeah.
I am the Senate Budget Committee. Look at me. I'm the captain right here. And I'm the deciding vote. And it's over. Pick somebody else. Let's get her through this committee, or him or her through this committee, and let's get to work. I mean, Joe Manchin's willing to do it. Kristen Sinema's willing to do it.
Sirota put this out yesterday, which I think is so true. It's like, all you have to say as a Democrat is Neera Tanden is a union buster. I don't vote for union busters. Period.
That's
End of
true.
story. Like, just that one thing alone should be enough to sink her nomination, especially if you're Bernie Sanders. And, like, actually for Bernie, more than anyone else, the mean tweets actually are significant because, number one, it goes way beyond mean tweets. The mean tweets are an indication of the level of animus that she has towards the left of the party and all that she did to try to quash that branch of the party. But also, like, you actually do need to have a good working relationship with this person in order to make this work. So even on the surface level, the mean tweets are more relevant for Bernie than they are really arguably for anybody else.
And look, the White House continues, and this is how you know it's not 4D chess. They are wasting so much valuable political capital and airtime. It's useful to think of these things in terms of, like, actual money. Think about how many millions of dollars of airtime and political capital, which itself is worth billions of dollars in terms of what it can be spent, and not just on Neera Tanden's nomination. Why is this worth so much to you? Continues to go to bat for it at the White House press briefing, looking foolish, frankly. Let's take a listen to what she said.
We are working in close touch with Neera Tanden and with members of Congress on continuing to do the outreach and engagement to fight for her confirmation. That's where our focus is.
But no yes or no whether she's offered to withdraw.
That's not the stage we're in, Caitlin. Where the stage we're in is working to continue to fight for her nomination. And as you know, it's a numbers game, right? It's a matter of getting one Republican to support her nomination. We're continuing to do that outreach, answer questions they have, and continue to reiterate her qualifications.
Well, Krystal, they sound pretty confident Bernie Sanders is going to vote for her, number one. But, you can see, look, they are going all in, all completely to bat for Neera Tanden. And they're even pulling out all the identity stops, as we saw. Let's put this Politico tear sheet up there. This is just truly incredible. Biden is tapping, the Biden and the White House are tapping Asian American activists and other groups in order to help save Neera Tanden. I mean, this is so offensive on so many levels, and the idea that she speaks in any way for the Asian American community, number one. But number two, it's like, well, okay, why go to bat and be like, yeah, you know what? We're going to make sure we need to be represented by somebody who is terrible online and corrupt as hell. That's not the message that you want to put forward. Eric Swalwell takes the cake with my favorite thing on this.
God.
This is so cringe. I need to put up like a cringe trigger warning here. Let's put this up there from what he said.
If you're cringe sensitive.
I represent one of the largest Indian American districts in the U.S. How do I look at what's happening to Neera Tanden and tell little girls of South Asian descent that they'll have the same opportunities in life as white men? The answer, I can't, and that's a shame. That is, wow. Just, Swalwell giving his own thing, probably shouldn't be talking about Asians and girls in the same sentence, but, his own problems aside, that is just such an incredible view into the what did we call it yesterday? Weaponized empathy of what Brianna Joy Gray talked about yesterday.
Yes.
That is just an incredibly cynical thing to say about, number one, Indian girls in your district are actually disproportionately going to be fine economically relative to the white men in your district, so maybe focus more about class problems. But beyond that, it's like, looking at this and distilling it all down to like identitarian wars within the Senate, like, fine, go find somebody who is of South Asian descent to run OMB who has not solicited money from the United Arab Emirates. It's not that difficult, actually.
There's nothing more racist than pretending that all Asian Americans are the same and have the same policy views and act the same way in terms of their use and pursuit of power. Like, that's one of the things that bothers me so much about this line of attack. Because the other thing they started to do is say, like, oh, and there's also objections to Deb Haaland. I guess it's just all women of color that you hate. Deb Haaland is nothing like Neera Tanden.
No.
Deb Haaland, I think, would be a fantastic Secretary of the Interior. She's truly progressive. I don't agree with her on every single thing, but she's actually a good nominee, and I think that the objections to her are wrong-headed. They come from Republicans who ideologically oppose some of her positions, especially with regards to pipelines and climate change. Neera Tanden is, like, completely corrupt. She's taken money from all these big corporate interests. They're not remotely the same. And so to just lump all women of color together and be like, they're all the same, and that's why people have objections to them, is in and of itself racist. But yeah, this is the only play that they know how to do.
Got left.
Because you can't defend it on the merits. And also, by the way, some of the people who are going to bat for Neera the hardest are the very same people who were so worried about the toxic nature of the Bernie bro conversation, which again didn't even come from Bernie, came from, like all candidates, some of their supporters can be assholes online. And this was made into a whole reason why you shouldn't support Bernie Sanders because some random person online said something shitty.
Yeah.
Those are the same people who are now like, who cares what you say online? Shouldn't matter at all. The discourse is totally whatever you want it to be. You can be as big of a jerk as you want and shouldn't have any ramifications. So it is all wildly hypocritical. Where things stand today, as you said, the White House continues to push this. That shows you that there isn't an 8D chess going on here. There is no Neera conspiracy. It's not a head fake. Because if it was, then the minute that Manchin came out, they'd say, oh, sorry, we tried. Right. We're going to pull her. We're going to put this person in instead. So
it happens. Yeah, whatever. All right.
It happens all the time.
Exactly.
It happens all the time. And, it's very sad for Neera Tanden's political ambitions, but it's certainly not the end of the world.
There we go.
We're going to tell you what's on our radars. That's next.